welcome to another video. This is top 5 underrated / hidden gems horror films. And there's no particular order here, it's just 5 that I just ripped off my shelves and thought, well, you don't hear much about these films and they're actually quite good. So, or at least they are worth watching. So, I just wanted to share them with you. I'm just going to take from the top. This is the only Blu-ray release I have in this pile. It's Scarecrow. I have talked about this in my Let's Look at my Blu-rays collection video. But it's a slasher film where this group of teens who got detention goes on this farm to do some work, and the entire town holds this Scarecrow festival, and they go out there for the detention and have to work in the farm and do stuff, and that's when they discover the Scarecrow, and the Scarecrow is then this legend that no one thought was true, but then appears to be true anyways, and the Scarecrow hunts them, and classic slasher stuff. It's a fun little slasher. Like, if you're missing like just a fun little slasher for your Friday night, I recommend Scarecrow, because it deserves more love than that gets, because it is actually quite. I've watched it 2 times. I enjoy it. It's actually a good little slasher. So Scarecrow was my first pick. My next pick is a thing that I just think is very interesting, and I think should, it's not a great movie, but people should definitely watch it, because it is a lost gem in my opinion, and it's Trick or Treat, not the 2007 film, but a very old one. This is from the 80s, the 80s, middle 80s, and it has music from Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne is in the film as well. It's about this guy who gets bullied in school. He's metal, and for some reason he gets picked on because he's this metal type, likes metal music, and he hangs out at this local radio station, and he there's this one rock, heavy metal artist who is kind of his idol and what he looks up to, and he then ends up dying in a fire, and this local news, not local news, but local radio station then gets a hold of like an LP record, like the last that he ever made, which was supposed to be released but didn't, and he planned to play that on Halloween night, and he gives this boy, the main character, a copy of the record, and I just read his name is Eddie. The main character's name is Eddie. So Eddie goes home and plays this record of his dead idol, and he finds out that if he plays it backwards, it actually contains the spirit of the dead heavy metal musician, and then it just kind of goes on from there. It's a fun, little horror film. It's worth a watch. I think it's a lost gem. I think this should have been, much more recognized, but it's not. So yeah, Trick or Treat, that's my second pick. The next one is actually a newer film, and this is for 2006, and it's called Unrest. And this is a film that I'm surprised. Well, I'm actually not surprised that this hadn't got as much attention, because there's so many of these, like 2006, 7, and 8 horror films that just spit out. They came and went and nobody gave a fuck. But Unrest is, it's actually a pretty enjoyable movie. It's about these hospital students, or medical students, who works in the morgue with like dead bodies and stuff, and they get the mob gets this one body, and then apparently it's possessed, and one of the medical students actually gets the possessed body, and then goes on to rediscover where the body came from, and rediscover the whole mystery. It's one of those where it's not as much slasher, but it's more actually just classic horror, like spooky film. So yeah, I recommend this. I think this does deserve some love. It's quite good. So Unrest. This next one is not technically not a horror, and I don't think it's that unheard of, but it's Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon. And while it not being a horror, it's directed by James Wan, and it's a really good film. It's a thriller, and it's basically Kevin Bacon who his son gets killed by this gang, and he goes to hunt down the guy who killed his son, and he basically gets in a gang war, and it's just really good. It's gotten James Wan written all over it, so if you like James Wan, you check out Death Sentence. If you haven't already, you probably have. I still think you should check out Death Sentence because it's a really good movie. Last, and probably the one I want people to watch the most, is Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Venom. This is a really awesome film for any slasher fan. This brings something new and unique to the table. This is filmed as a documentary, following a guy who claims to be the next, big slasher dude. It's set in a reality where Jason, Freddy, and Myers are real people, and he basically wants to be the next great slasher. So they basically documented it in a real practical way how they plan everything to be in the house and predict how the entire night is going to play out. Find their prey, train so they can always catch up with them even though they walk. All of those practical things make up a backstory. It's really cool because it's a slasher movie, but it brings something different. It's a film like a documentary. The only downside is it can drag out in the last 10 minutes of the documentary part. But about the last 20 minutes of the actual film, it's filmed like classic slasher, and it's really good because now you know how it's going to play out, but yet you don't. So, Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Venom. Awesome film, absolutely awesome. This one deserves so much love. This one, in my opinion, should have been a cult classic, because it's really fucking great. So, those were just the 5 films that I found, and, you can check out any of them if you like. I think they're all good. Some are better than others, and, they each bring something else. But I think they all deserve some love, more than they already have. But yeah, I have social media, so if you wanna, you can subscribe to the channel for more, or you can follow me in the social medias. I think I have Instagram, which is at IamFancyAsHell. You can follow me on Twitter, which is at J_Bier. You can ask me questions on ask.fm, which is also just at J_Bier. I have some other social medias, but you don't give a shit about those. But subscribe to the channel, follow the social media if you like. Ask me questions. I don't know what the fuck. I don't care. Well, I do if you send me stuff like questions or follow me. I do care. I appreciate it. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you another time if you choose to come back. If not, that's cool. Peace.